Committee meetings to order. I want to remind commissioners to please make sure your mics are turned on. Also, you've been given a copy of the new committee assignments. There are very little changes to our committees. I don't think there'll be any changes to the committees that are meeting tonight, except for the Personnel Committee, the chairman and vice chairman of those, of that committee has changed. I want to remind members of the audience that cameras are restricted only to the back of the room. And if you have a camera in front, you need to move your cameras to the back of the room, please. Mr. Tony, you have any reason why you do not want to move your camera to the back?
Yeah, with all the monitors in front of all the commissioners' faces, it's very hard to see who's speaking from the back of the room. I pay the same amount of taxes as everybody else. I'd like to sit in the front so I can see. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. Ms. Noe, I thought we had a verbal agreement with you when, that if we would video the meetings and put them on the website, that you would move your camera to the back of the room. You want to tell us why you do not want to move your camera to the back of the room?
Not particular.
Okay.
Because I'd like to say, we had an agreement too, that you admitted you violated the First Amendment, and now you're denying it. What happened with that?
You'll have to check with my attorney about that, Ms. Noe, because my attorney is in charge of that.
I'm in charge of the double payment deal with Mr. Katz.
Again, that's a matter that's in the courts, so you have to wait and let the courts decide on that issue. Okay?
Chairman Shipley, I think we ought to go ahead and let the courts decide on these cameras rulings also.
Okay. You,
And I like to go ahead and make that, put that in form of motion if I
you're
can.
making a motion?
Yes, sir.
To ask the courts to decide on the camera issue.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, call the roll, please.
Yes, or?
A yes to let the courts decide, a no, do not let the courts decide.
Jeff Akerd,
No.
Eileen Arnline,
Yes.
Chris Cunshaw's absent. Randy DeBoard,
Yes.
Thomas Doty,
No.
Tim Goins,
Aye.
Bobby Hahn,
Aye.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Joe Huntsman,
No.
Green's absent. Wayne Neesmith,
No.
Howard Shipley,
Yes.
Jim Stepp,
Yes.
Taylor Ward,
No.
5 no, 7 yes.
The motion fails for a lack of a majority vote.
Thank you, Commissioner.
7
Huh?
yes,
It's 7 yes.
7 yes.
It takes eight
Yeah, you're right.
to have a majority, so the motion fails. Okay? We'll proceed on with our business tonight. Chairman DeBoard of the Finance Committee, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call the Finance Committee to order.
Follow our own rules.
Do we have any visitors wishing to address the committee?
Noe, 2343 Joe Stevens Road. I appreciate those who decided a camera that makes no sound, has no light, over in a corner is not a problem. There are many more problems in this county besides a camera. And then you talked about filing suit. Well, you voted on September 13th to file a suit. And this relates to the attorney's bills, because he would be the one filing suit. Bring it on, folks. Bring it on, Mr. Goins.
That's just trouble, that's all that is.
Mr. Chairman,
On.
what she is addressing is not on the agenda tonight, so I call for a point of order.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, it is your attorney's bills I'm talking about. That's who you will have filing suit. And so that's related to it. And regardless, I don't have to continue on. I want to talk about the jail a second. For some reason, you put it in finance. I know why, and that's fine. When are you going to look at saving $30 million? What is so hard about the concept of looking at an alternate? You've got jail-to-work programs that are going to reduce the incarceration rate. You've got the jail bail lawsuit that's going to reduce the incarceration rates. Why do you still say we need a multi-story, four-story, 600-bed, 624-bed facility in light of all the changes that have happened? In fact, why did you ever do that without looking at other options? It's not too late to do the right thing. And I know your bids are coming in on Thursday. But I don't care if the bids are 95 million and you've got 95 allotted for this. I don't care if they're 85 million. If you can build something to meet the needs of this county for $65 million, why are you going to, or why are you even thinking about spending 95 million? And I hope that Mr. Burwell will give more than we've talked about things a little bit more. We're looking at this. I'd like to know about any change orders, addendum that have been issued. I'd like to know about any updated cost estimates that have been provided to anyone, the mayor, or maybe one of you all. But back to the lawsuit. Bring it on, quickly. Thank you.
Do we have any other visitors wishing to address the committee?
My name is Tony Strauzulo. First, I got a question. How come we didn't start
Point of
off-
order, Chairman. Must have his name and his address, please, sir.
Yeah, I feel
Yes.
that's intimidation, Jim Step.
It's in the rules right here. that
Yeah,
You don't
well,
need to come
you
in the
guys break the
door.
rules as well, and I feel that you're trying to intimidate the citizens by requesting our address.
This
Why
is
don't
not a
you
personal
all should
issue,
start
sir.
off with
This is
saying
for
your
Ms. Bowman
address.
here to be able to record who is speaking in
Let's-
their address. That's all this is for.
All I have to do is be a citizen. You don't need to know where I live. You're
Mr.
not coming to my
Struzzulo.
house.
Do you wish to give your name and address?
I'll give my name. It's Tony Strauzulo. So we didn't even start off
Point
this
of order,
meeting
Chairman.
with the pledge of
Point of order. Want an address. You're wasting your time, sir.
You're sitting here. I got all day.
Ditto.
Great. Let's hang out then. Should we order pizza? Come on, Jim. This is real. I don't know one citizen that would be sitting there in your chair right
Let's
now giving
let's
me this
call this to
runaround.
order.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Point of order.
Comments should be made to the chair of the committee, not to specific other commissioners. Please, Mr. Struzzulo.
Thank you. I appreciate
All
that,
right,
Daddy. Randy, you know I'm a citizen of the state of Tennessee. Doesn't really matter where I live. I'm allowed to be in here. I'm allowed to speak. I feel that you all are trying to utilize the nature of addressing our address as intimidation. In our rules meeting that you all started that was so fake months and months ago that has lapsed, you guys were supposed to address that situation, and it never happened.
It has
So
not
I
been-
find a fault on the commissioners.
Mr. Struzzulo, it has not been done yet. And so we are working on what we have in front of us today. So please just either state your name and address, or we can move on to the next person who would like to speak.
how come you guys haven't addressed that yet? What are we waiting on? The jail to be built?
No.
Well, can you explain to the citizens what it is?
I don't think that's even on this agenda tonight, Mr.
It was brought
Strazullo.
up just now, so it's on the agenda. Why are we waiting so long to address?
Point of order,
the
we need
Call
some
to
kind
order.
of form here to sit this down.
So can I speak?
Do you want to give your name and your address, sir?
I do not.
Okay, then.
You need to sit down.
Sit down.
That's been the rules here forever and a day.
And there's been times that you guys have broken those same rules. There's been times that people have came up here and not said
Do we have
their
a
address.
bailiff?
There's been times that people have came up here with foam on their shirt.
Go by the rules. Go tonight.
For tonight? My name's Tony Strazullo. I live at 609 East Louise Avenue. I wish to address the rules. Should be the last and final night that the citizens are intimidated. I am making a records request right now that my information, my video is not put on YouTube per the policy
Find
of
it.
the records request of
This is
YouTube.
Mr.
So
Strazullo.
I'm telling you, hey,
Point of
you
order.
didn't say my address. I no longer would like my face or my information plastered on YouTube. That is what is going to end up happening. So I am letting you guys know now, do not post it on YouTube.
May we stay on track, please, Mr. Strazullo?
We can. So I want to start off with knowing why we did not start off this meeting with saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Are we that far behind?
That's not part of the committee
That's not-
meeting.
Okay, so the jail. Let's talk about the jail.
Your address.
I want to know tonight, since Burwell is here, that whether or not we have sufficient video recording with audio in whatever jail system that you all have planned. It was proven last week that the lack of audio and poor video placement plays a big role in determining what happens within that jail. So I hope that can be addressed tonight by Burwell. The second thing I would like to talk about is Mayor Bill Britton, about a month and a half ago, spoke about taking money from the CARES Act and utilizing that to put that money towards building the jail facility. The CARES Act does not permit building a new facility out of the CARES Act. He is wrong about that. Wrong about many other things. So that needs to be addressed. We also need to address the fact that we've never, ever discussed a one-story facility with a different layout. That needs to be discussed. If you all want to make an educated decision, you need to look at all the avenues, and that is one of them. And you guys are not doing that. I would appreciate it. Did that years
Do we have anyone else who would like to address the committee?
My name's Dennis Green. I live at 4981 Cameron Road. I've been coming here for many years and that and watching y'all. And I want to talk about on this agenda right here for a minute. You're fixing to read off down here in number 4, budget, funds and all that. You got out on the sides over there what each thing is going to be, what the price is. But you don't have it broke down for us to know what this is, like, Fund 131 Highway Department, $79,500. I don't know what it's for. And you got another one right above it. Number 9, $11,800. What's it for? I don't know. You all?
That is actually what we will be covering during the
I know,
committee
but
meeting.
Well, I'm saying no, over the period of time that it's not really been broke down what each thing really is.
Every month.
Yeah.
And what I got figured up, and what you're got here, you wanna do tonight, and what's been passed, $253,983.99. I don't know what that's really for. And I guess there's a lot of people here don't. I'd say there's some of y'all don't. But I mean, it would be nice, so, you know, if it could be broke down a little bit better so we can understand, Randy.
Yeah. We will go through each one of those line items, and we'll address each one of them as we go through. You'll notice above that it's for County Mayor Bill Britton, and so, or Ann Hurst. And is Ann here? Yes. Ann can address each one of those. Typically with the committee meetings, that's what we'll do. We'll cover the topic, and then we'll talk about the details of the topic, and then we will move from there. So that's where we get that opportunity to learn that information. Thank you. Do we have anyone else that would like to address the committee?
8150 West Point Drive. I have a question, and I probably won't get an answer, but I'm going to ask the question. Why did we not look at doing a one-level jail just to see how much it would cost? Why?
We did.
Why did you not do that?
We did 3 years ago.
We had those opportunities, we presented all the discussions, they came back, and then we determined what size of a jail we needed to build. After we determined the size of the jail that we built, then that's when all of those plans had been discussed. But now we're beyond that point, and if we're going to commit to the level of sales that we've committed to, that's where the cost comes in. So when you start breaking it down per sale, it's quick and easy to do the math on. And so that's how that's been calculated.
So you're saying to me then that a 4-level jail is cheaper than a 1-level jail?
That is what has been determined, yes.
That's hard to believe. Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to address the committee? Seeing none, in your packets, you've had the chance to review the expenditure reports. Do we have an acceptance of the monthly checks?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a
Oh,
second?
no, I'm sorry, I'm not on that committee. Sorry.
You got a second?
It's easy to do. You know,
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, like sign?
Do it all.
Motion carries. Okay, in old business, we have none. In new business, line item 4A, Justice Center Project, Mr. Pettit.
I'm here to update you on the status of where we are on the jail. As has been mentioned already, we're having a bid opening. It's a 2-part bid opening. It'll be virtual. And I think they have invitations to that, and I'll link to it if you want to monitor it. It'll be at 2 o'clock, we'll receive the base bid. And then at 3 o'clock, we will receive the unit prices for 10 alternates, where there's 10 allowances, and 9 of those will have a price associated with them. At 3 o'clock, they'll turn those in a sealed bid, along with the 6 alternates. So you got allowances and alternates coming in at 3 o'clock. At that point in time, they'll open both envelopes and read those aloud. A couple other things of note. One of them was coastal sales. If you're aware that a sale was brought up here as a sample on a flatbed truck on a real rainy day one day, and had a chance to look at it. They were approved as a steel sale manufacturer, so now you have more competition there, so we'll hope that'll help with our pricing. Another big good news thing is the alternate lighting manufacturer is now accepted by the architect, so there'd be some more competitive pricing there on the electrical light fixtures and stuff. And then the third thing, CML is a security detention contractor. They were also approved and are going to be bidding the project to the general contractors. So that allows some more competition on that. Any questions so far? Because that's all the good news. I've been tracking since we've been assigned the job, what the inflation rate is doing in the construction industry. And it got a mixed bag here. Steel actually peaked in May. Steel futures were peaking in May, and they've actually dropped a little bit. However, that's not got to the steel warehouses yet. Let me see if I can find those notes. Steel, for example, in May was up 34% over April. We've got some good news now that from when it bid, some things may go down. We're kind of concerned about other things go up. Resteel is still a horrendous shortage, and those general contractors bidding this job having to contend with somebody that's quoting them for just about a week or 2 weeks for a price, and they've got a 30-month job in front of them. So they got worries over the inflation. They've got building shortages. There's Firestone Roofing and is saying they get an increase of 10%, which follows everybody else's roofing materials. Everybody knows what gasoline's doing. Copper prices have looked like topped out in May. They haven't really come down a whole lot, but that's a concern. Lumber futures were up almost 40%. They've kind of leveled back off, so that was good news. Paint's even hard to find right now. Sometimes they can't even get buckets for paint. Another little glimmer of hope is general contractors are worried about forthcoming work. So we think that may help the price come in. Non-residential building fell 13% in August. It rose 3% year to date, but you got to remember last year was COVID, so you got to take that into consideration. Total construction starts fell 9%, which is good news for us because we want people to be open to more competitive rates. So it's kind of a mixed bag on the economy. It's been tough since April. And the only good news on that was the wood. Steel's been way high, so it'll be interesting to see how the bids come in on Thursday. Any questions?
I have a question. Mayor Britton, would you like to address to us and also members of the audience how we might have access to the bidding process?
Sure. Like someone said, the bids will be received on Thursday afternoon. Now, at 3 o'clock, we'll go live electronically from the West Wing, that's where the bids will be opened. There'll be a public viewing room in the courtroom downstairs, not that courtroom, but downstairs on the second floor on that end. Public viewing room, and then anyone that has access to a phone can or a computer can watch the bid opening. The link will be put on the county website tonight, and so all you have to do is log in on that link, and you'll be able to watch the opening of the bids. So that's Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock is when everything will be open.
Okay, thank you. Would you please email each commissioner a copy of those bids, just as, when you,
Of the bid results,
bid results, appreciate it. Thank you.
Item 4B, garbage and sanitation discussion. Barry Poole?
You guys know what's going on in the industry with vehicles, trucks, and that type of thing. They don't have enough staff to meet the demand. New vehicles at this point in time because of the COVID situation. We had in the budget the 2 garbage trucks. You guys passed and agreed to buy 2 new garbage trucks this coming year. That was through Sourcewell, which is formerly the NJPA source of buying, and it was for a Kenworth truck, Kenworth cab and chassis, and then there's a Packmore dump body that goes on that to complete the garbage truck, a rear loading garbage truck. Worldwide Equipment is our dealer, Craig, and his associate Arnold here, the manufacturer of the truck body. Larry's here with me to answer questions that you might have, but Kenworth just notified Craig and Worldwide that they can't provide a truck and chassis for those 2 garbage trucks. They also sell International and another brand. They're telling them the same thing. If you didn't get your order in by a certain date, then we're not going to be able to supply you with a truck, a cab and chassis. So when our order went in for 2 garbage trucks, they've determined was after that cutoff. And so we had $320,000 set aside in the budget for those 2 trucks. The only option that we've got now with Worldwide is they sell Max. They sell the Mac cab and chassis. And there's also been a price increase with the body, the Packmore body. But the Max costs a little more than the Kenworths. And that's our only option at this point if we want to proceed to buy 2 new garbage trucks in this coming year. The price went from $160,000 per truck to $195,000 per truck. So we've got an increase of $70,000 for those 2 trucks. I'll do whatever y'all say to do. We can scratch it all, or we can dial it back to buying 1 truck. I'm at your mercy on this.
How big a necessity you gonna have to have those trucks this year?
Well, we asked for 2 because we felt like we really needed them. I mean, we're dealing with breakdown after breakdown. A truck or 2 needs a sensor. Can't get a sensor. If you don't have that sensor in there, it shuts the truck down. It goes into D-rate. It shuts the truck down. Sensors out there on a ship out there in the water can't come to the dock and unload. You know, y'all know that situation better than I do. So that's where we are. We've got, sometimes if we try to get 7 trucks out on the road because it's an extra busy day, our spares stay out there about a half a day, and then they're back in the shop to be worked on again. So we feel like we're in bad need of trucks.
What's your past maintenance record with these Macs?
Macs have the best maintenance and repair record.
Okay.
You'll spend more up front, but you'll save it down the road because they don't cost you as much to operate. That's very clear in our maintenance records. We'll be able to, if you want us to supply you with those records to improve for that, then we can do so easily.
Let me ask you, I'm sorry, I thought I saw a hand over there. Let me ask you another question. Are you able to keep employees on the back of those trucks now since
We need 2 truck drivers. That's where we're at. We are back up to, we've got enough riders and everything in terms of that classification, but we need 2 people that have commercial driver's license. So that's our staff need at this point.
You'd said on these other trucks that you had ordered, you got to order in late, and you can't get them. Is that open-ended? You don't know when you'll ever be able to get them, or is it another 6 months or another year?
I think if Craig may correct me, but he's talking about 2025 is what they're telling him. Based on what orders they have and how quickly they can manufacture them. It'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of 2025. Is that right, Craig? Come on up. They may have some more questions.
That pretty much seals the deal.
Craig Stallings, Worldwide Equipment. The industry is terrible, and of course, most of everything due to it's really a electronics issue that they can't keep up demand on. Between heavy-duty trucks and/or small passenger vehicles, everybody's in the same boat. We could assume all day long on delivery of really what delivery is looking like. No one knows. You know, every manufacturer announced 2.5, 3 months ago that they were built out on production. If we take international, per se, they announced 2.5 months ago that they had 180,000 orders. They could house 100 in a year. So more than 2 years worth of production slots, roughly. And unfortunately, with what we went through on the county, Kenworth overbooked really on what they could build. And so we don't know right now. We can assume, but in reality, at least for 2 years, every one of the manufacturers too is looking to do allocation and allotments, so you don't know from 1 year to the next as to what you're getting. That's the long and short.
Is the HDD market, heavy-duty diesel market, not doing like the big three and building up bulk, waiting on the chips to come, the electronics? I've seen I work at Molly, we make the pistons for those.
Sure.
And they're still buying the pistons right and left. So I'm assuming that they're building them up and stockpiling, waiting on the electronics they need just to put them in so that they can kick them back out. Have you checked in on that to see if that's happening?
They build actually what they can house, and everything from dealer principal standpoint is sold when the order comes in. So as far as they will build what they can and set it to the side. I was telling a story earlier that we have a particular order for a customer sold, and they're about 2 months late, and we went back to them yesterday to see what the update was. And each of those units were missing right at 50 parts per truck each. Same thing with Volvo. We're a Volvo dealer. We had a customer who we waited roughly 7 months past just to get the truck. So to answer your question, I think that they're doing what they can, but when you have an incomplete vehicle, you disrupt the whole line. So I think probably at times they choose not to place that truck because of the disruption of the line and or pulling workers off to try to get that unit complete.
So why does Mack have access to all this?
Honestly, Max did a little bit better job than every other OE, I'll say. So Volvo owns Mack. Volvo sometime back, they went on a strike, and it left them some production open per se. And hey, not all companies are equally run. Just say maybe some does a better job with managing their orders, and Max has done a better job of really maybe distributed to their dealer principals a little bit better.
Is it feasible to even consider these side load things as the city has?
I think it is. I think it's a good possibility, especially in subdivisions where we can get people trained that we need for the car to be set right here in this pretty tight area. I think we could go to that at some point. Out on county roads, out in where you don't have curb and it's not been a design road, then I think we're gonna run into bigger problems, but a vast majority of it I think would work. Jim, y'all, it's working good in subdivisions for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, we're getting ready to up about 200 cams, I believe, per route. Hopefully in the future is why here, so. And did Worldwide sell those to the city of Marshtown?
Unfortunately, no.
No, okay.
Jim, what happens if they don't have that garbage can position right? Do you just go on and leave that can?
It's really gotten better. I think that the driver's learning to maneuver the arm to get to that can.
Oh,
But it does take cooperation from citizens to put in the right place, and it's working out.
Barry, are these trucks available? Are these side-mounted jobs available, or?
Totally automatic.
I don't know correctly.
For the chassis side, which I can speak for, I can't speak for the body. I can speak for the chassis. Problem is, when you get into the cab over market, which is the style of truck that you need for a side loader, it's in worse shape than probably anything. Again, you've only have about 3 manufacturers, and that's Peterbilt, Mack, and Autocar. Really, for you all, Autocar would be, I don't want to say out of the question, but their closest dealer principal is in North Carolina. So from a service and warranty standpoint, you really only leaves you with 2 options.
So what you're saying that they're not available either?
They're
Why are we even looking at it then if they're not available?
Yeah. Just ask, go ahead.
Would it make sense to back down to 1 truck this year since the difference of the amount, and then reconsider that next year?
How much y'all's mercy?
One's better than none.
We felt like we could get our fleet in good shape and have a very dependable
Everyday fleet, and then, get our spares in better shape as we use some of the trucks we're using now. So we felt like 2 would get us in better operating status. I think we'd still be a little crippled with 1, but 1 is better than none.
When will that be ready? 2025?
Not if we switch to Mac. We're thinking
Mack
maybe
is the only one we can get.
March and April of 22.
Now, you'd said that the maintenance on the Mac, of course, Mac's been a real dependable truck for years. Can we look at that kind of savings on the maintenance in the next 5 years?
We can prove that to you by the records we keep.
Well, we gotta have our garbage picked up.
So you think it'll save over $35,000 per vehicle over the life of the vehicle?
In a period of 10 years, I'd almost guarantee it.
Do you think it'll last 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
I just wonder, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Jim. We got dump trucks that are 10 years old now that are doing fine. Aren't they 10?
Then why haven't we gone with Matt before for that, if they're that?
The garbage trucks. Those Kenworths have always been a little less, and they've given us good service. We had that fleet of Freightliners, which has turned out to be a disaster, and we went to Kenworth, and they've done well. I mean, they're not totally repair-free, but they've done well, and we've been pleased with them. If you get on up in echelon there when you go to Mac, and our records indicate they are repaired a lot less often.
Thing I wonder on any truck, the Mack will last, yes, but the sweeper and stuff like that and those things, that's what I think 5 years start giving you trouble. Breaking cylinders and breaking, that's what I wonder. That,
You're talking about a sweeper truck?
no, on the garbage truck when you, what's the word I'm looking for, when they pack it? Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the body that the garbage is housed in.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
truck will last.
And then, of course, we've had different brands of bodies for the garbage as well. We've had the Heil body. When we had to repair it, it's just much more difficult to repair. The Packmore body has always given us a better repair record, less money in repair, easier to repair. The parts work together and are easier to get to when you have to take something apart. We just found that Packmore bodies has always worked better for us. So we don't have anything against anybody else, but we got some experience on them, and the Packmore body works better for us.
Are you saying that you've had Packmores that have lasted 10 years already?
Well, we took the Packmore body off of old truck and chassis and put them on new truck and chassis. Remember when we've done that, Joe? You made that proposal. So they've outlasted some trucks. Of course, you know, not all of them do that, but there's been some. So they've had a good record with us.
What'd you say the cost was of this truck?
This truck's $195,488. That other one was just a little less than $160,000. So about $35,500 more per truck.
We had in the budget two garbage trucks, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
I move that we go ahead and purchase the two garbage trucks and pay the difference out of our contingency fund or whatever it is.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries.
Hey, when will you get these trucks? Now,
Let me ask you a question.
Ben's gonna get them in April.
Now, to order that, it's still gonna take you, what, how long? What period of time for you actually
That's what he's
receive it?
asking.
We're thinking maybe March or April.
Uh,
Greg?
22.
Oh, really?
That's what we're hoping. Again, the order boards are terrible through the OEs, but.
It doesn't matter how much you can save if you can't get them. That's stupid. He's saying you can, the max. He's saying you can. I'll tell you one thing, Pep, if they'd run them garbage trucks 5 days a week instead of 4, that's ridiculous.
You'll be able to blast it till then, pretty good. Good.
Thank you, Barry. Item 4C, RFQ for contract for architect for A&D and fire safety. Mayor Britton?
In September, we issued an RFQ, a request for qualifications for architectural services to prepare American with Disabilities Act audit or survey and a fire safety survey for two buildings. One is the Hyde property that we bought, and the second is a house on East 3rd North Street owned by Tapestry of Women, which is a nonprofit organization that is wanting to use this property as a transitional house for women coming out of jail that have drug issues. The purpose to conduct these surveys is to determine, one is whether these buildings, what they need to be what's considered a congregate care facility, which means like how many people could live in the house safely and meet those codes, what modifications to the houses need to take place to meet the fire codes or to meet the Disability Act codes. So that was the purpose, so that we can use these two facilities, one under contract and one that we would own, for transitional housing for folks coming out of jail, in treatment, as part of the program that we would undertake using the opioid settlement money. We issued the RFQ. We got one response back, and that was from a firm out of Knoxville. We sent RFQs to 7 architects and then to 2 planning rooms and vendor registry, which goes out to all the architectural firms. And then we followed up with some phone calls. And most of the replies we got was that this project's too small for most of them to undertake. So we got the one proposal. The contract is in your packet. And it's for $5,000 for both, $5,000 collectively for both properties. And to do those audits. And we would pay for them from the money from the opioid settlement. And that's what I'm requesting.
And roughly how many people can be housed in these units? Less than 8? Is that correct?
Well, yes, I think that's what we'll learn from these audits. I think like for the Hyde House, it'd be about 6. And I'm not sure about the Tapestry House.
Is the Tapestry House sprinkled? Okay.
So it would be about
8,
6.
yeah.
I think 6 is the limit.
It's 6. Okay.
The hourly rates that are listed in the contract is not additional to the base?
No.
Okay.
No, that's in case we added scope of work
Oh,
to the
okay.
contract.
So do we have a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, like sign? Motion carries. Item 4D, budget amendments. Fund 101, Planning and EMA for $744, and this is for educational incentives. Ms. Hurst?
Excuse me, there is an employee that's shared between EMA and planning, and they have submitted the paperwork or the documentation. They have a bachelor's degree, and this funds that position for that additional money.
So do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item D2, Fund 101, Inspection and Regulations. This is for Civil Service Board for $1,455. Ms. Hurst?
This is just the budget amendment that we need to put in place based on what you passed last month to give the Civil Service Board an increase. And this is what we need to put into the budget in order to carry that out.
Do we have a motion
So
to
moved.
approve? We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D3, Fund 101 for Chancery Court, $1,300. Ms. Hurst?
This is for a scanner, for Chancery Court, for scanners. And this comes out of the reserved equipment account. So these funds are put into the account just for their use. So if there's anything we don't spend here, we'll have to go back into that restricted for automation.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Stepp? Any discussion?
Was that hand scanners?
Pardon?
Is that a hand scan?
No, I'm thinking there's flatbed scanners.
Okay.
I've seen the quote, but right now I'm trying to.
Any additional questions or comments? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D4, Fund 101, Sessions Court, for Judge Collins, that's $139,675. Ms. Hurst?
This, again, is the budget amendment to formalize what y'all passed last month to fund the judicial, magistrates or judicial commissioners. And this puts it in the form of a budget amendment and into accounts where we can spend the funds. The other salary and wages that we're taking some of those funds is from Teresa West's Circuit Court account. You know, she was going to provide, since we're no longer going to be funding the judicial commissioners part-time, not magistrates such as we have from her budget, removing this amount into the sessions of Judge Collins's budget. And we may tweak that a little bit later as time goes by, as we see when, but this was for 9 months.
I'll make that motion.
We've got a motion.
Question.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. We have a question.
How much was it Teresa's putting in? It's about 60,000.
Right now, $35,300. She's already spent some of the money that she has in her account for this year, and I left her in about a couple of months of funding, just because I'm not sure, when we'll get these full-time positions filled.
Okay, thank you.
But if we get to the point that they're all filled and we have money left in Teresa's budget, we'll move the balance of that. And we have discussed that with her.
Do you have any additional comments, questions? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D5, Fund 101, Sheriff's Department for $203.79. Ms. Hurst?
Again, this is an assigned committed account for the Sheriff's Department. You've heard them talk about their calendar money, and this was the balance that was left over from a previous year that we're moving into their accounts to spend.
Do we have a motion?
So move.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D6, Fund 101, Sheriff's Department for $4,446.
There were a couple of positions that needed to be, I'm going to say, that had adjustments proposed from last year's salary study update, and we're just now implementing those, and this is what it is to implement these and be consistent with the salary plan.
Do we have a
So
motion?
moved.
We got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D7, Fund 101 for Sheriff's Department for $375. Ms. Hurst?
This is a refund, someone who is not able to go to training, and this is the refund, and we're just putting it, back into the revenue line and then into the expense line.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D8, Fund 116 for Garbage and Sanitation, $49,610. Ms. Hurst?
Again, this just puts into the budget what y'all passed last month for the $2.50 raise. And again, this is just for 9 months. I put it in effective October 1st.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
James Steps, second. Any additional comments or questions? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D9, 131 Highway Department for $11,800. Ms. Hurst?
Excuse me. We will be, it appears, receiving about $12,000 more in mineral severance tax than we initially budgeted, and this just puts it in the budget and shows a stronger fund balance.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Colleen Arnwine? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Item 4D10, Fund 131, Highway Department for $79,500. Ms. Hurst?
And again, this is to put the $2.50 into the highway budget effective October 1st.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman DeBoard. This time, the chair would recognize Vice Chair Tim Horner of the Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This time I'll call the Personnel Committee to order. If there's any visitors wishing to address this committee with agenda items only, may do so at this time. Seeing none, 3A, old business, there is none. 4A, approval of longevity pay, and that was for Sydney Ivy, an amount of $225. Need a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? There is none. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Warner. This time, the chair will recognize Chairman Tim Goins of the Public Service Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. I call the Public Service Committee to order. Anybody wishing to address the committee? Seeing none. No old business, new business. A resolution to urge Tennessee elected leaders to oppose the federal proposed vaccine mandate. Can I put that form of a motion? Mayor Britton, you want to say something about that? I'm sorry.
In your packet is a resolution that was prepared for county mayors across the state to present to their commissions. Basically, where this started from, about 3 weeks ago, we had a couple of virtual meetings with county mayors from East Tennessee, primarily from East Tennessee, Knoxville East, about how to deal with the federal mandate for the vaccine that's being implemented through OSHA regulations by the Biden administration. And then we also discussed the Tennessee Attorney General Slattery's letter to the president about his concerns about the mandate. And so during those calls, there were some mayors who wanted resolutions prepared for their commissions to see and consider, encouraging Attorney General Slattery, the Governor Lee, Speaker Cameron Sexton, and Lieutenant Governor McNally to do all they can, whether it be legally or through legislation, to prevent this from happening. And so in your packet is the resolution that resulted from that discussion, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. In the fifth paragraph, you'll see that basically the bottom line action is to that the Board of County Commissioners of Hamilton County encourage Tennessee state and federal elected officials are strongly urged to oppose the federally proposed vaccine mandate. And what we would do is, if you approve this, is we would send it to the governor and to the attorney general and Speaker of the House and Lieutenant Governor, and also to our federal delegations as well. And just on a side note, there have been 55 county mayors across Tennessee who have signed or have signed on to a similar, this is a letter from the mayors to the delegation opposing the mandate and encouraging legislation or legal action to prevent it. So, yes, sir.
What if the federal government doesn't honor this?
They're just
Lee's got a meeting this week. He's called the General Assembly all together in Nashville to discuss this.
That's why, I mean, that's why the mayors have putting the letter together, is to get it down there. And then this is just something for you to consider that was requested by other mayors across the state.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Your motion?
I'll second it.
Got a second? All in favor, saying aye? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chairman. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chairman Goins. At this time, the chair will recognize Chairman James Stepp of the Calendar and Rules Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Call to order the Calendar and Rules Committee. Any visitors wishing to address the committee may do so at this time.
My name is Tony Strazillo, 609 East Louise Ave. So Jen, the Rules Board, when are we gonna have another meeting? It's been quite a few months, and we've tried to come with some terms, but it seems like the terms weren't quite going in favor of the commissioners, and therefore, it's kind of gone to the back burner. We need to bring this up, we need to have this meeting, we need to get these rules in place. We need to find out the constitutionality of these rules that you all are trying to place. Therefore, you know what's lawful, what's unlawful. We need to have this updated. It seems like we've backtracked from where we tried to get to months ago. And I don't understand why we haven't. I don't know why we haven't had those meetings, but somebody, whomever is the chairman of that board, ought to go ahead and get a meeting going.
I think our plate's pretty full right now, I believe it. Can I say that?
What?
Our plate's pretty full right now with other things happening right now before we have a.
Pretty important.
Might not know. Anyone else?
Lori, Joe Stevens Road. I notice on your calendar for next meeting on the 21st, again, you have appointments before comments. I would like to ask that you reverse the order now so that public comments are in number 2 and solid waste board appointments are in number 5. Obviously, if you don't want to do that, that tells the public a lot. You don't want comments about solid waste board appointments. So here's your chance to make that change for the meeting before you get into this, we'll take 2/3 or whatever you want to do to make sure that comments don't happen. And it doesn't even list who the appointment is that's being made. I don't know, I would assume it's one of the commission appointments. It doesn't say it's the mayor's appointment, but I don't know. Again, a little bit like someone said before, it's not in the packet, it's not on the agenda, and you have it before public comments. Please consider making a motion to move comments to number 2 and appointments to number 5. It's not a big deal, but it allows the public to make comments before those appointments. I appreciate that Mayor Britton is concerned about constitutionality and the mandate on vaccines. I hope you're equally concerned about constitutionality about a piece of foam. And let's go on. Let's bring it on. Your attorney slipped out again, but he'll be paid. We know that. Mr. Cutshaw informed us all that whether he attends or not, anything, he's going to be paid. Please bring it on.
Anyone else?
Notice here tonight, I'm sorry, Derek Harwood, Elk Road. I notice here tonight, y'all are looking at sending a letter to the legislature asking them to oppose the federal mandate. The state of Nebraska has went so far as to start moving on this new thing that Biden's trying to do on this any account with more than $600. We need to also be moving on that and opposing the federal government on that. The federal government has no business sticking their nose in our bank accounts just because they have $600 in them. We need to get that on an agenda here and start addressing that also. As far as the COVID issue that was addressed, the fact that it was called a mandate is where I had to draw the line on it. As most of y'all know, my mother actually died from COVID. And my wife just recently went through it. And we stuck to our guns on it. We took the cures that was recommended, was natural with plants. And right now, we have a better immunity than probably everybody in here now because we actually have been through it and actually have antibodies for it without going and getting injected with a bunch of poison or choking ourselves to death with some little paper mask. And I hate to disappoint you, sir, but we won't be visiting your funeral home anytime soon now.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner E. Smith?
Is there a reason why we've got the solid waste, we're gonna vote on them before the comments come up? And even the guys running for it doesn't get a chance to speak? Is there a reason for that?
This is the way the agenda has always been since I've been on the commission, so, you know.
I mean, you got one alternative to break the rules, but this commission don't wanna bend the rules in order to give a guy that's running for office a chance to speak. Mr. Doty, and Mr. Capps, and the lady. None of them got to speak up on their behalf
That's appointed.
before,
That
before,
position's appointed.
before it was voted on. It's too late after you done voted on it to hear anything, so. I make a motion, we redo that. We make that solid waste appointment come after the comments. Comments would be the people that's actually running for the position.
All appointments.
Huh?
I don't think I
Commissioner Holmes
can
said
address
all
that
appointments.
in my calendar and rules.
Yeah, he's made a proper motion, so you need to take the motion. You've got a second that the calendar be changed from move item 2 down to 5, 5 up to item 2.
Do we need to take a vote on that? Roll,
Yeah,
do
roll
the
call.
committee?
Who made the second motion?
Mr.
Akins.
Jeff Akins.
Explain that again one more time. Let's make sure we all clear on this stuff. To change it from 2 to 5.
If you vote yes, you want to change 2 down to 5, 5 up to 2. If you vote no, you leave it like it is.
My apologies, I'm lost in this one.
Huh?
I need a new second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jeff, you're not on the Calendar and Rules Committee, so you can't second the motion. Anybody else on the Calendar and Rules Committee who wants to second the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Thomas Doty seconds the motion.
Okay. Go ahead and do the vote, roll call.
You only call this,
James Stepp,
No.
Tim Horner,
Abstain.
Howard Shipley,
no.
Eileen Arnwine,
Yes.
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Joe Huntsman,
Yes.
Wayne Neesmith,
Yes.
4 yes, 2 no, 1 abstain.
Okay. Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Yes. This is a simple majority in the committee. Yeah.
Anyone else want to speak?
Holden, I already gave my address. Thank you for voting for that, because I think the people should have the right to speak before anyone is appointed for anything. Because they are paid by the taxpayers. Thank you. Thank you all for doing that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
and 1501 Eller Road. I just want to say thank you guys once again for giving an opportunity for not us to be able to speak, but for whoever's looking at the position to speak ahead of, or have, you know, get a vote. I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Just back like to the Rules Committee. Randy, you were doing such an awesome job on it. I know, but if you were awesome job getting somewhere, making some progress. Don't want to see it disappear.
You won't.
So just wanted to,
Yeah.
keep it going.
Yeah.
And can't remember. Somebody made the comment amongst you guys, well, that's the way we've always done it. Well, if we stood by that, we'd still be getting around by horse and wagon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, 3A, old business, we have none. 4, new business. 4A, review of calendar items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion as amended.
Sir?
The calendar.
As amended.
It's been as amended. The word amended may not be as changed.
Change. Go to 4B. Review of consent calendar items. Put it-
You need to vote on A.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Okay, I was gonna say a second.
Collins Doty. Any discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All I have, Chairman.
You need,
To do B.
let's do the consent calendar now.
I'm sorry, I am lost all of a sudden tonight.
Yeah.
5A.
4B.
4B, review of consent calendar items. That's what I thought I just did.
No, that's,
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I believe that's all I have, Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairman Stepp. Want to remind the commissioners to leave your notebooks so that Chris can prepare them for the regular commission meeting. Also, please do not forget the deadline on the open enrollment for your insurance. You need to turn that in by October the 31st. That's all we have. We've accomplished our agenda for tonight, so we stand adjourned.
You too.
Because you went from here and then second, but you didn't ask, you got a first, but you didn't ask for a second. And then you went down here.